Esiet sveicināti visi, kas šajā brīdī mums ir pieslēgušies, visi, kas mani redz. Vienalga, vai esat Zoom vai Facebook tiešraidē, tagad gan laikam jāsaka Meta tiešraidē, ir liels prieks, ka esam satikušies. Valsts svētki nosvinēti, saulgriežu laiks vēl nav sācies, un šajā mirklī, kad esam starp diviem lieliem notikumiem, mēs jūs aicinām tuvākās stundas laikā kopā ar mums parunāt un padomāt par krāsas spēku. Un krāsas spēks pavisam noteikti ir tās tonī. Un tieši tāpēc arī šogad uzņēmums AkzoNobel, kas Latvijā pārstāv 3 ļoti svarīgus krāsu zīmolus Sadolin, Pinoteks un Hammerite, sadarbībā ar Latvijas Dizaineru Savienību ir uzorganizējuši šo ielūkošanos 2022. Gada toņu tendencēs un arī krāsu pasaules jaunumos. Iekārtojieties ērtāk, klausieties visu uzmanīgi, ko jums stāstīs šīs dienas lektori, un obligāti uzdodiet arī jautājumus, ja tādi rodas. Momentā tos rakstiet vai nu Zoom čatā, vai arī Facebook čatā. Mēs tos apkoposim un pēc katra lektora runas tos arī nolasīsim un cerēsim, ka lektori uz šiem jautājumiem pavisam noteikti arī atbildēs. Tāpat iesaku šo visu noskatīties līdz beigām, jo finālā jūs sagaida maziņš konkurss, un konkursā būs iespēja tikt pie 3 ļoti vērtīgām balvām. Tas gan pašās beigās. Mēs neesam nākuši šeit lieki vilkt gumiju, tāpēc uzreiz iepazīstināšu jūs ar šīs dienas pirmo runātāju, un tā ir Heleen van Gente, AkzoNobel Globālā estētikas centra radošā direktore, un viņa pastāstīs par projektu Color Futures un Sadolin 2022. Gada toni un toņu kombinācijām. Helen, can you hear us?
I can definitely hear you. Absolutely. Hello. How are you? Very, very sorry that I still can't join you and have a face-to-face meeting with all of you. But I'm, on the other hand, really happy to share our Color Futures inspiration and to tell you something about the colors and our color of the year. Shall I start sharing my screen?
Yeah. You can share your screen, and as they always say, there's always next year. That's about the meeting you in person. So let's hope we're going to meet each other in 12 months' time. But yeah, you can share the screen and you can start your presentation.
I most certainly will. Let's see. I think you can see my screen, right? I think I'm sharing my screen. If not, please let me know. I hope you can still hear me. Well, let's take it from here. So, thank you very much for the introduction. I'm very happy that you are all there and that we can have this conversation. I'm here to tell you something about the story behind our Color Futures 22 research, about why we picked some colors, about the conversations that we have had in advance of picking all those colors, and just to give you some a colorful afternoon. So I know that we were that I was introduced, but I still want to bid you a warm welcome and share the things that the team and I produced for your country, but also for the other countries where AkzoNobel sells paint. Talking about the team, we're a team of 5 creatives based in Amsterdam, working for the 80 countries where AkzoNobel sells paint. We do a lot of trend research, and of course, when I say trend research in the context of our colorful company, it's all about color trends. We create the Tendences for the countries where we are active, as well as the brochures. We do a lot of art direction of photography, because all is about showcasing our beautiful colors on walls and inspiring our customers and consumers to have a look at all our colorful material. But everything we do starts with trend research, because we want to make sure that we provide you and your colleagues with colors that work for the future. We started doing color futures research well in advance of producing and publishing color futures. The Aesthetic Center was established, for the people who really paid attention. It was on my slides 2 slides ago, 30 years ago, which means that now that we're almost in our 20th year of color futures, we already did a color analysis based on our color trend research 10 years before we started publishing it. 20 years ago, people were so enthusiastic about things, and before that as well, that we were asked to start publishing about it. But this is what we actually do. We nominate the most important colors per year. We look at the best reds, the best blues, the best yellows, the best neutrals, and we put them next to each other. And based on that, we can really see how these colors evolved through the years. So this is what you see happening. The neutrals are becoming a bigger group, more and more. It doesn't really stop yet. We do see a tendency that the colors are becoming much lighter and airier than they were a few years ago. But what you can also see that sometimes the blues are more important, whereas other times the yellows or the reds are more important than other colors. Really interesting stuff, and for us it's really valuable to see what's happening with all those colors. So that's what we do at the Global Aesthetic Center, but next to that we have the need to have conversations with people that don't work for AkzoNobel but still have the same consumer and customer group as we have. So once a year, we invite a group of international design experts to have a conversation with us, what they think is going to influence the lives of our customers and consumers. So what keeps them awake at night, what makes them happy, and what influences the way they experience the built environment. We talk about social trends, economic trends, design trends, of course, and we talk about color trends. But most of all, we really want to step into the shoes of our customers and consumers to see what moves them. This is where all those people come from. They come from a lot of spaces all over the world. We have a very good spread of international experts. And that's really from places from South America to China. As said, all people working in the field of design, but in various design specialities. People working for magazines, textile designers, architects, interior decorators, product designers, you name it. So I'd like to share with you what we talked about. And last year, September 2020, I'm talking about, we were looking at a world that is unfortunately not that much different than it is today. But what the overall sentiment, the mood of the moment, that where people were so fed up of being inside and being restricted by everything that is happening at the moment, that we really need metaphorical but also real air. We need to breathe. We need to fill our lungs to clear our minds. We talked about how that filters through in a lot of things that we are confronted with. The people talked with the designers talked about a renaissance, really a rebirth. It's all about new things that we're longing for and longing to embrace. We talked about blank canvases. We talked about a new approach to life, leaving the city. We talked about listening to new voices, in being interested in their opinions. We talked about revisiting the ideas of the home, and we talked about soul food, because that's something we desperately need. And we talked about our new approach to nature, our need for nature. And we said, how important is it for people to hear that you are gold? So, as said, we talked about this metaphor about air, looking up and restarting. And these paintings were shared with our group, and it really gave us food for thought about what is really important and what is which colors resonate in this day and age. And everything that we talked about is, sorry, was distracted by my by the cat. Everything that we talked about is captured in this title. This year, it's all about a breath of fresh air. We always want to be consistent. So we said our trend for 2021, for example, was seeking firm ground to give us the courage to embrace change. And it translated into this beautiful earthy color, brave ground. For 2022, however, we said now it's time to open up, to take a breath and see things with fresh eyes. Everything we talk about, that we discuss, we try to capture what in something that we call a messaging map. So, and I'm going to go in detail about things that you see on this slide, but just to give you a kind of overview of what is going to be discussed and how it filters through in our 4 trends, is that we talked about the home reimagined, a new approach to using your home, necessity of nature, nature as the source of everything. We talked about the power of reverie, remember the soul food that I just mentioned, and we talked about new narratives, listening to new voices that we never heard before. Everything is then captured in the overriding theme, a breath of fresh air, and then we have 4 buckets, the 4 trends that we think and talk about the most important things that people are dealing with at the moment. And then, of course, we translate this into the house, and we talked about metaphors this year. Metaphors was all around, but I'll dive into that. But 4 trends that I'd like to discuss with you. Not before I'm going to share the color of the year with you, by the way. So what happens? So we have this messaging map, and then my team and I start translating all this information that we talked about and all these beautiful images that we shared with each other into color schemes. And we talk about and we nominate one color to be the most important color of this year. And that is our color of the year. So this is what happens. You have this messaging map, and then you see these 4 color palettes appearing instead of where I just showed you the trends. So we have this group of colors that are that represent the do-it-all space, and it's all about this new approach to living. We have colors that represent the nature trend. We have the colors that represent the soul food, something that recharges you. And then we have the 4 colors on the right-hand side that is all about creating a space to have conversations and to listen to new voices. If you put all those colors together, you'll see that we are always fair to all color families. So we make sure that every color family is in there in the way it should be in there, based on the mood of the moment and the way these colors are important at this moment in time. As said, we always have one color that we think is the most important color and that we really have to talk about, and that is our color of the year. It's based on the conversations that we have, and at the same time, we really look around us to look at product design, to look at design and fashion, but also all kinds of design that we see appearing in our inboxes, and that we are able to look at in fairs like Milan, which fortunately we were able to visit this year. Without further ado, guys, I'm proud to introduce Bright Skies as our color of the year for 2022. It's an airy and fresh light blue that can open up a new approach and revitalize any living space. Really proud of it, and we really see it working in many examples all over the world. Already showed you these 4 color palettes, but if you now pay close attention, you'll see that the color of the year is in every one of these color palettes. Because we really want to make sure that there's a color of the year color palette for every one of our customers and consumers. And since we know color is personal, and people have different views on how they want to decorate their houses. Around the color of the year, in the heart of these 4 color palettes, you'll see the color of the year being used in different contexts. Another feature for this year is that we want to turn the dreams of our customers and consumers into reality. So we incorporated a lot of beautiful illustrations using our paint to really showcase the beauty of our product. So, as promised, the story behind those 4 trends and those 4 color palettes that I just shared with you. So the first one, as said, the home reimagined. The workshop being the metaphor for a space to do it all. It's a energizing, multifaceted, multifunctional space that we're looking for, where we can be anyone and do everything. I think these images probably look familiar to you. Working from home, using our home as a gym, using our homes as restaurants, using our homes as cinemas, using our homes sometimes even as hospitals, using our home as a place where new entrepreneurships grew and flourished. So everything that we have been doing outside of our homes suddenly was inside of our homes, and that makes the fact of that then our home has to meet different functions that we can support with a beautiful color scheme. Before we take Corona and the COVID situation as leading for everything that we're doing, that's not entirely true, of course. The role of the home was already changing before we have to, retreat in our homes for the obvious reason. We already saw a different approach to living in clusters, people choosing to live with each other, or families sharing homes because of a situation that is quite difficult for young people to get a home themselves. But also from a voluntary point of view, people just like living together once in a while, and of course holding on to your own personal space. But the role of the home is definitely changing. We see that the traditional model feels limited as our living spaces fulfill countless new roles, from sanctuary to family home to office. Small or large, rural or urban, traditional or modern, tomorrow's home needs to be a flexible, ultimate space. So what we say is we need a space to do it all. We think that this multicolored, very family-related, playful, friendly color palette is very functional for zoning, for highlighting areas that you want to see highlighted. Everything for a joyful and flexible home. And this is where you see the colors applied. If you pay close attention to the room set images that I'm going to share with you in the next couple of minutes, you'll see that we applied bright skies on a lot of ceilings. We want to showcase the ceiling as our 5th wall, because we truly believe that the ceiling deserves more attention. But also B, to really pull the bright skies in and to make sure that people get this refreshment and a breath of fresh air in their homes. Here as well, you can really see zoning. We zoned off the kitchen, we zoned off an area where you can work, where you can play, where you can have dinner, to make sure that there's something new to look at in every area of this house. Also, of course, we provide a lot of consumers with beautiful color schemes, but also customers in the prof business. So, for example, this is an example of how these colors can really work well in an educational environment. But also in an office. Why make an office boring if you can make it really energizing and appealing with just one can of paint, and making the right color decisions, of course. So the second trend is all about the necessity of nature. the metaphor for this trend is the greenhouse, and this is all about a space where we can get back to nature and celebrate the great outdoors, wherever we are, indoor or outdoors. It's a symbiotic space where nature takes care of us and vice versa. So what were the discussions that we had with each other? We talked about nature as a healer. In the last couple of years, we talked about nature a lot. Nature, there was always an element of nature in our trends, and in this case, we said, yeah, nature is really taking care of us. A lot of people moved to the country in last year, when all over the world, by the way, when we were in lockdowns and we weren't allowed to enjoy the advantages of the city. Suddenly, the city became very limited, and some people felt really locked up in the city. So people moved out also because they were able to work online. So a lot of people weren't in offices anymore, were restricted to offices. And so in the city itself, please mute your microphone, please. Thank you so much. So the sentiment of using your house and incorporating nature really changed. Can you please mute your mic? That would be lovely. Thank you so much. I still hear a little noise. Thank you so much for muting. So, as said, people moved to the country, and that's one thing for them to seek nature. But also, people incorporated nature much better in the cities themselves, all in our own favor, I have to admit. So, again, this is not only COVID and Corona related. There is this huge trend of incorporating plants and being surrounded by nature going on for quite a while now, but I don't see the end of it. So that's why we thought to build on it. So we say nature is our lifeblood. It's something that we felt more keenly than ever in recent times. We felt vitalized by the great outdoors, and seeing the value of living close to nature is making us reassess our dependence on the city. So we need to put nature first. And that's what we can do with this biophilic color palette. The greenhouse colors, and they can provide you with an urban jungle, and it's the treasuring the simple things in life with these beautiful airy greens and blues. And as you can see, we applied it on the wall of a lovely location located in the woods. But of course, the sentiment of this color scheme can be applied everywhere, also when you live in the city, perhaps even especially when you live in the city. To make sure that you don't think of greens and blues only if you would like to surround yourself with beautiful natural colors, is the version of on the left hand side of this slide. We're really talking about colors that are pleasurable and remind us of a field of wheat, for example. So those colors are colors of nature as well, not only the blues and the greens. Having said that, why not enjoy them? So beautiful color schemes on those walls to pull nature in. Also on the outside and for wood products, we have these color schemes available. And for offices on the exterior of office buildings, for example, to really make them fit into a more greener environment in cities, and to make sure that people are able to work in a better way, surrounding themselves by nature indoors in office environments. So the third trend, guys, the power of reverie. Metaphor for this is the studio, the atelier, and this is really about a place where you can escape the everyday and where you can become inspired and recharge. The inspiration for this and the story behind this trend is all about the consoling strength of the arts, and not being able to go to theaters and orchestras, people realized how important art is to soothe the soul, as soul food had said. We've been sharing these things online for a long time. Some countries are able to enjoy it in real life again. Some countries are not. But the sentiment, the importance, the realization that this is really something that we need stood out during our trend forecast meeting. A lot of musea went online, for example, and I think that still a lot of people enjoy seeing musea online and just surrounding themselves with beautiful things to look at. So we need spaces that are beautiful. We need to be able to feast our eyes on beautiful stuff. It makes us happy, it consoles us, and it inspires us. So we said, in a period of quiet contemplation, this can do wonders for the soul. Apparently Shakespeare wrote his best poetry during the lockdown. So, well, I challenge you. It's all about poetry, music, film, dance, and painting, singing together, reading books together. They are the soul food we need. So we need a place to be able to surround ourselves with this soul food, the power of reverie. And these colors really support this sentiment. With these colors, you're able to create a sanctuary where you can revitalize and feast your eyes on beautiful things and look for inspiration. And this is how these colors were executed in a kind of atelier-like environment, all low, relaxed furniture that really gives you the opportunity to relax and just enjoy yourself. And where else can you enjoy relaxation better than this beautiful bedroom that is almost like a boudoir where you can read books and really focus on yourself. Or just share something with your family and friends. Of course, that's a place where people want to be looking at beautiful things as well. And perhaps that's where you inspire each other. These colors are also very usable for a healthcare organization. We want to be able to give the people that use hospitals, but also other paramedical environments, also the soothing qualities of this color palette, which of course they are in dire need of once entering an environment like this. But also in the hospitality environment, we think that these colors really create an environment where people are at ease, relaxed, and can enjoy themselves. And our last trend, definitely not our least, guys. It's a bit, it's common, but it's definitely true. This is all about new narratives. The salon as the metaphor for an open space where we can welcome new voices, in person or online, in a space to relate to, respect and relish other people's stories, and to build our own. A blank canvas where we can start a free flow of communication. One of the most important things that in the context of this trend we talked about is this book. It's written by a Dutch writer, and it was recently translated when we had our meeting a year ago. And it's called Humankind, A Hopeful History. And it was very much about, we always think we have to expect bad things of the people around us, but this guy did research all over the world, and he shows that people are much kinder and have much more empathy and openness towards each other than you would think. So very hopeful, and it says that he calls himself a hopeful realist, and I think that's what he is. But we also see a lot of signs of what he shared with us in his book. We see a lot of solidarity and people helping each other, making sure that they, one on one is three instead of two. Of course, we also see signs of people behaving in a different way. But if you look at the bigger group, if you look at the majority of people, there is this tendency of friendliness towards each other and openness and the willingness to listen to people's stories and opinions. Also, in the context of companies, for example, companies really see the value of listening to our customers and consumers, because we want to know what's in their mind and we want to deliver what they ask for. So social listening, listening to your employees, listening to your companies is part of this trend. You could even say that real talk saves lives in the cases where it is really, really important. And I'd like to end this behind the scene, behind the story part of this trend by saying again, "You are gold," which was written on the sidewalk of a British seaside town. Every day, when you pass it, you are just, I think, soothed by the fact that people appreciate you. So we say the salon is the metaphor for an open space. Think of the spaces where intellectuals and artists met in the 18th and 19th century, where they communicated and where they shared their minds. And we say, as our digital lives expand, we are being encouraged to look outside of our social bubble, to strip off our metaphorical masks and to open our hearts and minds. So we need a space to open up for everything. And with these beautiful near whites, but also these very contemporary brownish tones, combined, of course, with our color of the year, we think we are able to create a fresh and unifying space that opens up for everything, because it's light, it's about simple modern craft, it's considered, it's friendly, it's the blank canvas that I think we can supply a lot of demand for. As you can see, the color of the year on the ceiling in this beautiful airy environment where color is applied, but it's very subdued, and it gives the opportunity to showcase other furniture, but also listen to new voices as well. And here as well, it's the color palette like this is really, it's not really visible, but you can feel the colors, you can feel the attention that we have given to this space. It's almost like the colors of dark and light, shadow colors. If you look up and look at the ceiling, here it is again, our bright skies, beautiful, combined with a very palish and extremely contemporary cooler gray. And of course, in hospitalities and environments like this beautiful library, our color of the year gives the opportunity to listen to new voices in the context of books and literature. So I'd like to show you two examples of the transformative power of paint. And this is really why I go to the office every day. And it very much inspires us to come up with beautiful color schemes that can transform any living space. So what we do is, when we start photographing these room sets to showcase our color palettes, we have one space that we transform 4 times. And I'm going to play this back again. So this is the white area where we start. And then with the same furniture, only applying different color palettes, you'll see that there is this beautiful transformation. And of course, we add a few extra cushions, but nothing much changes except for the paint. Another example, in a kitchen, for example, the basic kitchen, and then we start applying paint. And it gives such a huge result, and it really showcases the power of paint in an environment. So it really makes me happy, and I hope you like it as well. And with that, I would like to thank you. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share. And I'd like to hand back to somebody. Pick up. Thank you so much.
Somebody's here. Everything's all right. Thank you very much, Helen. That was fantastic. I have a few more questions for you, and let's start with this one. What do you reckon? Would our color of the year, the blue skies, would it be suitable for rooms or spaces with limited daylight?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely agree. I think it's what I tried to share previously. It really adds freshness in a room like that. I would combine it with lighter colors, although I mean that is perhaps the obvious solution. It's if the aim is to add more daylight and more airiness, combine it with some fresher, lighter colors. If the aim is to create a mood and to almost make it into a hub where you feel comfortable and comforted, all other kinds of color schemes are you're able to use as well. It depends on what you have in mind with a space like that.
All right, thank you. What do you think? Is there any possibility that one day pure white will be the color of the year?
Well, I have to admit, we considered it once. I think it was about six years ago, something like that, because the trend of that moment was really, it was, we were looking for a new start. We were looking for a basic color, but you see so many inspirational colors around you and also looking at what's happening in the world of design. We thought in the end, a white is just too limited. So what you see is that sometimes the color palettes as a whole are lighter in some years than in other years, but really choosing a white, I think, we're too color focused to really choose only a white. It may be in the color palettes, it may be represented, but we struggle with it.
When your center makes the annual forecasts about the colors and about tones, do you take into account the culture of the people living in different regions of the world, like trends in their culture?
Definitely, and that's why we really focus on global trends. Of course, in a lot of countries there are local colors, there are heritage colors. So I will never claim that we are one big global population having exactly the same color preferences, say on a basic level, of course, and I think that's lovely. There are differences, but we're talking about global trends where we connect, where people can find each other, and that's why we truly believe that we can talk about these 4 global trends and 1 color of the year.
All right. In your background, we can see quite a few items that are maybe not pure black, but blackish. Let's say like that. What do you think about black color, and what are the trends right now in the world? Of course, speaking about usage in interiors.
I truly believe that what we say, the colored blacks are an important color group. They're very popular as well. So I think it's not only about a black, but it's about those very dark blues, dark greens, reds, etc. Yeah, they're an intriguing color group. And I think for the right balance between the lighter colors and the black colors, and also to add some elements to your home that stand out and really pop up, I think very dark colors are extremely interesting to work with.
All right. What do you think about, maybe you have in mind one particular color that you associate with, that Latvia with. So do you have a color for Latvia?
Now when I think about your region, I always think about those beautiful cities with the colored houses. So that's the exterior, the historical exterior color scheme are the colors that I associate with Latvia. And that might be a limited approach, but I love architecture and love walking around in cities that are well taken care of, and so those are the color schemes that spring to mind when I think about Latvia.
Thank you very much again for your presentation. Thank you for your answers to our questions. Have a nice day, and I really look forward to see you next year in person.
Well, let's hope so. I'm all for it, and I wish you all a very nice afternoon. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much. Dāmas un kungi, tā bija Heleen van Gent. Tūdaļ pat turpinām, tik vēlējos jums likt aiz auss, ka Sadolin gada tonis bright skies droši izmantojams interjeros jau šobrīd arī Latvijā, un ja gadījumā jūs to darāt, tad ir lūgums ar tā izmantošanu padalīties, jo pavisam drīz Sadolin gada beigās ir nolēmuši arī apbalvot kādu. Tad, kad būs iespēja ieraudzīt, kā šis gada tonis tieši izskatās jau gatavā interjerā. Detalizētāku informāciju par šo jums vēl pastāstīs gan Latvijas Dizaineru Savienību, gan arī to uzzināsiet no Sadolin puses, sekojiet līdz jaunumiem, tātad vai nu mājaslapā, vai arī sociālajos tīklos. Taču tagad vārds Ērikam Šagiazdanovam, AkzoNobel pārstāvim Latvijā, kurš mums pastāstīs par Sadolin krāsas jaunumiem.
Jā, labdien! Tad es sākšu, lai turpmāk mēs varētu izvairīties no misēkļiem, kādas mēs redzējām iepriekšējā video, tad es jūs iepazīstināšu un pastāstīšu par mūsu jaunajiem EasyCare sērijas produktiem. Tad sākumā pastāstīšu par tādu no mūsu galveno produktu EasyCare, kurš principā jau 5 gadus tirgu ir pieejams. Unikāls, netīrumu atgrodošu tehnoloģiju produkts. Krāsas sastāvam ir pievienots vasks, kas nokrāsoto virsmu padara hidrofobu, jeb izturīgu pret šķidrumu un netīrumu iedarbību. Līdz ar to krāsot virsmu var ilgāk kalpot un arī vieglāk viņu tīrīt. EasyCare šo 5 gadu laikā ir kļuvusi par vienu no mūsu vispopulārākajiem produktiem, arī principā populārākajiem produktiem. Tāpēc mēs izlēmām šo produktu līniju attīstīt, un ar šo gadu ir parādījušies vēl 2 jauni produkti EasyCare produktu līnijā, par kuriem tad es jums pastāstīšu tālāk. Kā pirmais jaunumiņš ir EasyCare Kitchen and Bathroom, jeb vannas istabām un virtuvēm domāts produkts, jo kā mēs uzskatām, kad vannas istaba noteikti ir tāda ļoti ekstrēma vieta iekštelpās, tur daudz uzglu un visādi iespējas to virsmu sabojāt, sasmērēt, un tie traipi, kas tur var rasties, viņi ir daudz, daudz noturīgāki par traipiem, kas var rasties, piemēram, viesistabā vai kādā citā telpā. Tāpēc krāsai jābūt attiecīgi daudz noturīgākai, un tāpēc ir radies šis jaunais produkts, Kitchen and Bathroom, kas ir mitrumizturīgs, pelējumi noturīgs, virtuves gadījumā viņš ir izturīgs pret eļļainu ēdienu gatavošanas traipiem, un kas vēl ir būtiski, kad tas produkts mums ir sanācis arī matēts, kas, protams, patīk arī dizaineriem, arhitektiem un arī izskatās noteikti uz sienas daudz patīkamāk. Un trešais produktiņš no EasyCare sērijas tad ir EasyCare Wood and Metal, kokam un metāla, un tāda universāla krāsa iekšdarbiem un ārdarbiem, ko mēs varam nokrāsot. Koka metāla detaļas, kas nu mums paliek pēc sienu krāsošanas, mēbeles, līstes dažādas, durvis, tie paši logi. Un šis produkts ir unikāls ar to, kad produkts ir skrāpējumi izturīgs, uz viņa nepaliek pirkstu nospiedumi, un kas ir svarīgi, šis produkts ir testēts pēc standartiem uz skrāpējumu izturību, tad viņš atbilst noteiktam standartam pēc skrāpējuma izturības. Tas nav vienkārši tā, ka mēs uzrakstam, ka ir skrāpējumi izturīgs. Nē, ir konkrēts standarts, ir dokuments, papīrs, ko mēs varam tā kā parādīt. Un arī šis produkts ir testēts bērnu mēbeļu un rotaļlietu krāsošanai kā lietojams un drošs. Ja? Un arī šī krāsa ir matēta, tad mums visi EasyCare krāsu palete ir matētas krāsas, katram savs pielietojums. Un principā ar EasyCare sēriju mēs tagad varam nosekt visas vajadzības, kas mums ir krāsošanai iekšdarbos. Krāsas, visas EasyCare krāsas, protams, ir tonējamas visos sadaliņu toņos noteikti. Arī vispārējie toņi ir, kā jau zinat, pieejami mūsu toņmašīnās. Un tagad mums ir tāds pilns komplekts, un mēs visām dzīves vajadzībām, tāpēc mēs droši varam teikt, ka vairs nekādu traipu. Jā. Kā nākamais tāds topiks, par ko es gribēju jums pastāstīt, ir par toņu izvēles rīkiem, drīzāk tā kā atgādināt, jo tas ir tas, par ko mēs runājam visu laiku, un tas ir tas, ar ko mēs strādājam ļoti aktīvi, un kā mēs uzskatām, ka tas tonis ir tas galvenais, un tie rīki tiem rīkiem ir jābūt, lai maksimāli ērti varētu izvēlēties toni gan vienkārši lietotāji, gan profesionāļi, tāpēc parādīšu vēlreiz. Tad vispopulārākais un tāds visbrīvāk pieejamais un svarīgākais mums ir toņu katalogs, Sadolin Professional katalogs, kur ir vairāk kā 2000 toņi iekšā. Jā, tad varam izvēlēties visās lielākajās tirdzniecības vietās, viņš ir pieejams. Profesionālai lietošanai viņi var dabūt arī pie mums birojā bez maksas, atstājot tikai savus kontaktiņus pretī. Kā nākamais rīks, ko es gribēju uzsvērt, ir tāds digitāls rīks, jeb aplikācija, Sadolin Visualizer, bezmaksas aplikācija, kuru var lejupielādēt gan Google Playā, gan App Store'ā, kur mēs varam caur telefonu ekrānu jau paskatīties savus izvēlētos toņus uz mūsu vēlamās virsmas, ja, tā kā saprast aptuveni virzienu un uz kuru iet un kā tas izskatīsies, un vēlāk jau tad pieņemt lēmumus par krāsošanu attiecīgajā tonī. Kas ir jauns parādījies Sadolin Visualizerā, nesen salīdzinoši ir saucamais color pickers, jeb toņu atlasītājs, kad mēs varam ne tikai no esošiem toņiem vizualizēt uz sienas, bet mēs varam tā kā noķert toni no kādas virsmas vai priekšmeta, kas mums ir tīkams pēc krāsas, un pārvērst viņu par toņa numuru attiecīgi, lai varētu uztonēt krāsu. Ja? Tas ļoti interesants, un cik ir mēģināts, ļoti labi strādā. Un, jā, tā kā, ja mēs kaut kur ejam, redzam kaut kas patīk, smuks tonis, tad varam dabūt numuriņu un pēc tam to tonīti uztonēt. Un kā trešais rīks, tas gan vairāk tādai profesionālā lietošanai, bet ir pieejams arī lielākajos būvmateriālu veikalos krāsu nodaļās uz vietas, ja vajag arī tādu ikdienas lietotājiem pamēģināt, ir color sensors. Tas jau ir precīzs, kur man kaklā karājās. Mūsdienu tehnoloģijas ļauj uztaisīt ļoti jau tādu maziņu un parocīgu. Ir sensoriņš, kurš ļoti precīzi nolasīs no parauga toni un caur aplikācijas atkal palīdzību to toni pārvērtīs vai nu Sadolin toņu numuriņā, vai ir arī divas tādas populārākās tonēšanas sistēmas pieejamas color sensorā, kā NCS un RAL sistēmā. Ja? Tāds ļoti parocīgs rīks. Bieži ir jautājumi arī no profesionāļiem, kad ir vajag pāriet no vienas sistēmas uz otru, tad to arī mēs bieži izmantojam. Un pati galvenā toņa izvēles tāds rīks pēdējā laika, tāda lielākā mūsu inovācija, principā pagaidām mums vienīgiem tāds ir, tas ir color testeris, noteikti liela daļa ar tiem jau ir pazīstami, parādīšu, kā viņš arī strādā dzīvē. Tad 3 vienā, te ir iekšā krāsa, tonis un instruments, ja? Tad ar tādu mazu verķīti mēs varam pamēģināt toni uz sienas. Pareizākais veids, kā izvēlēties toni, ir viņu testēt savā konkrētā krāsojumā telpā uz sienas, ja, jo tur ir mums unikāls apgaismojums, interjers, un tad mēs redzam pa īstam, kā viņš izskatīsies. Ja, varam pastīties no rīta vai vakarā, un tas būtu pareizākais veids, ja līdz šim mums bija jāpērk kaut kāds neliels krāsas tilpums, lai pamēģinātu. Tad tagad mums ir testers. Vienkārši atveram, noplēšam, tur bija tāda aizsargplēvīte un varam mierīgi uzkrāsot uz sienas to mūsu izvēlēto tonīti. Viņš līdzīgi kā arī krāsa būtu vēlams krāsot 2 reizes, tad būtu tā precīzāk saprast. Ar to vienu testerīti mēs varam nokrāsot kaut kur aptuveni, mēs esam mēģinājuši 0,5 kvadrātmetru. Un tas ir pilnīgi pietiekoši, lai saprastu, kāds ir tas tonis. Uzkrāsošu blakus kaut ko vēl savādāku. Pa testerīšiem, kas ir svarīgi, viņi ir pieejami arī lielākajos būvmateriālu veikalos tādos speciālos standiņos, kur ir 54 tonīši tiem testeriem. Noteikti, ka liela daļa no jums jau ir saskārusies ar viņu zinu un lieto, un esmu dzirdējis daudz labas atsauksmes arī no profesionāļiem, kad ļoti ērti braucot pie klienta uz objektu var paņemt pa nelielām naudiņām nopirkt vairākas un iemest kabatā un nav vairs jāstaigā ar buņģām, otām, ruļļiem apkārt un jāmēģina. Ja. Nu tā, tas tā kā par testeriem. Tāds svarīgs. Vēl viena lieta, kas man bija jums jāpastāsta, ir te būs mūsu kontakti. Tad var droši ar mums komunicēt, kā vien ir ērti, ja, e-pasts, sociāltīkli, rakstiet, zvaniet, var pieteikties droši ciemos. Mums ir ļoti jauks un krāsains birojs, protams, ņemot vērā visu epidemioloģisko situāciju, droši vien kaut kad nedaudz vēlāk, bet tad pie mums var dabūt profesionālai lietošanai katalogu profesionāli, kā jau es teicu, ir gada toņa speciāls, tas katalodziņš izlaists, ja, toņu, kur ir visas tās 4 kolekcijas, par kurām jau Helēna brītiņu atpakaļ stāstīja. Un arī ir pieejams gada toņa testerīts, ja, kas ir principā unikāls, jo tādu nopirkt veikalā nevarēs. Ja, tas ir speciāli uztaisīts tagad gada toņa prezentācijai. Tā. Paldies tad par uzmanību pagaidām.
Lielas paldies, Ērik. Un, protams, man ir daži jautājumi, kurus vēlos vēl uzdot. Mēs šobrīd ļoti uztraucamies par mūsu visu veselību. Pastāsti, cik drošas ir Sadolin krāsas? Veselībai tieši.
Jā. Tad par veselībai drošām krāsām, ko es varu pastāstīt, kad, kā jau ļoti daudzās sfērās Eiropas Savienība nosaka normatīvas, arī krāsām nosaka normatīvas, tad krāsu tas galvenais veselībai tas drošuma rādītājs veselībai ir tas gaistošo organisko savienojumu īpatsvars produktā, ko regulē Eiropas Savienība. Ja, tad noteikts ir, ka maksimāli nedrīkst pārsniegt 30 gramus uz litru. Tie gaistošie organiskie savienojumi, tie principā ir tie naftas dažādi pārstrādes produkti, kas uzlabo dažādas krāsu īpašības, tur viskozitāti, žūšanu. Ja, un sadalījuma produktos, principā visos tie rādītāji ir stipri zemāki par normatīvos noteiktiem. Un speciāli paskatījos pirms šīs prezentācijas, kad principā lielākā daļai produktu viņi ir zem 1 mililitra uz litru. Ja? Tad, principā, gandrīz nemaz. Ja? Un mums ir ļoti tāda populāra krāsa sērija kā Bindo, kurai ir arī virsū ekolabels. Tas ir tāds, kas jau parāda, ka tas produkts ir ekoloģijai drošs, un visos ražošanas procesos tiek ievērots visi normatīvi, un tie GOS līmenis ir ļoti, ļoti zems, kā arī āsmas alerģijas biedrība iesaka šos produktus lietot cilvēkiem, kam ir pastiprināts reakcijas uz kaut kādām tādām vielām. Ja.
Tu stāstīji par ambience testeriem, pastāstīji, vai ir plānot vēl papildus toņi, vai arī ir tikai tik, cik šobrīd pieejama, un vairāk nebūs. Kā tur īsti ir?
Principā uz doto brīdi ir tā, kad ir tie esošie 54. Pagaidām nekādu plānu, līdz mums nav informācija atnākusi, ka kaut kas plānotos jauns, bet tas pieprasījums jau ir ļoti liels. Cilvēki grib redzēt kaut ko jaunu. Un es domāju, ka kaut kādu pāris gadiņu gan jau būs jau kaut kāda informācija, un tad jau mēs noteikti dosim jums zināt.
Kāpēc mēdz gadīties tā, ka tumši un spilgti toņi balē uz fasādēm, proti kļūst gaišāki?
Fasādes tā ārpuse, kas jākrāso, tā ir principā ļoti ekstrēma vide, jo tur mums ir daudz dažādi faktori, kas to ietekmē, un viens no galvenajiem, protams, ir saule. Saule mums noārda visu, un arī to spilgto toni viņa, tā vienkāršā valodā runājot, apēd. Ja? Tāpēc, principā, fasādes krāsām ir ražotāji, kuri pat piedāvā atsevišķi katalogus. Mūsu gadījumā mums vienkārši nav iespēja pat satonēt uz fasādes produktiem spilgtus toņus, jo mēs labi zinām, ka viņi ilgi nekalpos, bet tur varētu būt arī produktu izvēle pareiza, pie vainas. Bet, uz fasādes tomēr pamatā izmanto tāds blāvākus toņus, jo saule to tonīti noēd. Vai, ja gribās tiešām kaut ko spilgtu, tad ir jāņem vērā, kad eksploatācijas laikā būs jāatjauno biežāk. Jā.
Kuru no sadalījuma krāsām tu ieteiktu koka virsmām?
Koka virsmām, ja mēs skatāmies tās šodienas prezentācijas kontekstā, tad tas EasyCare Wood and Metal būtu principā ļoti labs produkts, gan iekšpusēji, gan ārpusēji nokrāsot koka detaļas ļoti, ļoti piemērots. Jā. Ja mēs runājam par koku fasādi, tad tur mums ir cita tāda mūsu zīmols Pinoteks, bet tas noteikti ir tad cita semināra tēma.
Labi, un vai tu vari pastāstīt, vai Latvijā ir kādi objekti mums visiem zinām, vai interesanti objekti, kuros šobrīd tiek izmantotas sadalījuma krāsas?
Principā objekti ir ļoti daudz privāti interesanti objektu, ļoti daudz, kā man ir viens klients, kas stāsta, kad ir tie slēgti objekti, pa kuriem nevar daudz runāt, bet es nedaudz sagatavojos pirms semināra. Es varu pastāstīt tādi aktuālākie objekti, kas ir noteikti, kas tagad ir tādi pazīstamākie. Daudzi Lidl veikali ir krāsoti ar mūsu krāsām, un ar ko mēs arī lepojamies IKEA, visas showroom IKEA, kas arī ir krāsoti ar sadalījumu krāsu, visas ekspozīcijas. Jā.
Lieliski! Paldies, Ērik, par tavu stāstījumu, atbildēm uz jautājumiem. Tagad laiks ir semināra dalībnieku konkursam, par kur es arī ieminējos pašā sākumā. Es teicu, ka būs vērtīgas balvas un nemeloju. Šodien iespēja vienam no jums tikt pie color sensora, pie krāsu sensora, toņu sensora, par kuru Ēriks arī stāstīja. Viens no jums kļūs par tādu īpašnieku, un diviem savukārt no Sadolin ļoti foršas bezvada austiņas. Tās iegūsiet, ja atbildēsiet pareizi uz jautājumu. jautājumiem, kurus tūdaļ uzdošu, un noteikumi šādi. Es uzdodu jautājumu un dodu jums 20 sekundes, lai jūs ierakstītu atbildi Facebook vai Zoom čatā. Mūsu moderatori, protams, novēro, ko un kā jūs to darāt, un meklēs un gaidīs un skatīsies, kurš būs pirmais, kurš pareizi atbildēs. Tātad vienkārši atbildi ierakstam čatā, un pēc 20 sekundēm es jau pateikšu pareizo atbildi, un mēs dosimies tālāk pie nākamā jautājuma. Un tātad, pirmais jautājums, uz kuru jums ir jāatbild, ir šāds. Šodien seminārā Helēna mums, protams, stāstīja par Sadolin 2022. Gada toni, par Bright Skies, bet kurš no jums zina, kāds ir šī 2021. Gada Sadolin tonis? Precīzāk, kāds ir tā nosaukums? Tātad Bright Skies ir tagad, būs 2022. gadā, bet 21. Gada toņa nosaukums ir, rakstām čatā atbildi, dodu jums nedaudz laika. Ja nu gadījumā atbildi vēl nav parādījusies, vēl nedaudz laika. Un 3, 2, 1. Paldies! Pareizā atbilde ir Brave Ground. Brave Ground, ja kāds atbildēja šādi, jūs esat uzvarējuši. Un runājot par 2022. Gada toni, tagad jums jāatbild, un te būs nepieciešams cipars, tāpēc es ceru, ka visi, kas šobrīd mums ir pieslēgušies, mēģinās kaut vai minēt. Pareizo atbildi, cik ir izveidotas Bright Skies papildinošās toņu paletes? Man šķiet, ka šo atbildi minēja arī Ēriks. Pirms maz mirkļa, cik ir šīs paletes. Tas jums tagad jāatbild, un es domāju, ka ātri nospiežot kādu no ciparu taustiņiem, kāds noteikti ir šo atbildi sniedzis. Un 2022. Gada tonim Bright Skies ir papildinošās 4 toņu paletes. Tātad 4 ir pareizā atbilde. Apsveicu uzvarētāju. Un noslēdzošais jautājums. Kāds ir Sadolin EasyCare sauklis? Pirms mirkļa šos 3 vārdus jūs visu laiku redzējāt ekrānā. Tie visu laiku bija redzami fonā, bet kāds ir šis sauklis? Tātad, kāds ir Sadolin EasyCare sauklis? Nedaudz laika, 3 vārdi tomēr jāuzraksta. Šoreiz iedošu jums vēl nedaudz laika apdomāties. Kas bija rakstīts pirms mirkļa fonā? Paldies, es ļoti ceru, ka esam saņēmuši atbildi. Atbildi ir vairs nekādu traipu. Vairs nekādu traipu. Šis ir arī vēlējums, kur vēlu jums. Un liels paldies, ka noklausījāties šīs dienas runas par 2022. Gada krāsu toni. Ar visiem, kuri ir atbildējuši pareizi un kuri trāpīja paši pirmie, sazināsies, protams, Sadolin pārstāvis jau uzreiz pēc tam, kad šī tiešraide būs beigusies. Pēc gada esmu pilnīgi pārliecināts, ka mēs atkal tiksimies ar nākamā gada toni un noskaidrosim, kurš tas ir, kāds ir tā nosaukums. Bet pagaidām paldies visiem par skatīšanos, lai jums jauka pēcpusdiena un uz drīzu tikšanos. Visu labu!